Welcome to the show. This episode of the Ish, and I want to thank you for joining us again on today. And I am going to welcome my good friend, my brother, my another brother from another mother, another man who is very credible in his field. And today we're going to talk about wealth for men after the age of 50. I'm going to introduce to you Mr. Sheik Kuyateh. Oh, again, welcome to the Ish, the place where credible content lives here. And this is my friend, Mr. Sheik Kuyateh. He's a proud U.S. Navy veteran, financial educator, and seasoned licensed financial professional for well over a decade. He's well experienced in helping families across the country to achieve financial independence and pursue their dreams. As part of the How Money Works campaign, Sheik is known for crafting practical value-driven strategies tailored to both short and long-term goals. Born and raised in the Washington, D.C., the Baltimore area, although we claim him as a Washingtonian, with roots in Sierra Leone and in Gambia, Sheik draws strength from his West African heritage and his faith, two forces that continue to shape his mission and services today. Sheik served 8 years in active duty and 2 years of active reserve in the U.S. Navy, earning multiple honors during deployment in operations Iraq, Freedom, and Enduring Freedom. It was during this time that his path for financial education was sparked. And I'll let you talk to him about that. He'll have a chance to share that with you. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce to you Mr. Sheik, baddest man on the planet, Kuyateh. How you doing, Mr. Sheik Kuyateh?
I'm good, brother. You hear me okay?
I can hear you well, man. It's always a
Okay.
pleasure. These are normally our times when I would come and sit in your office right about 4:30, 5 o'clock.
I
And then
know,
you give
man.
me the nosebleed. You show me my financial we're going to be in 20 years. And
Yeah, bust you up,
so,
right?
yes, I love that, man. It's only a good friend that can tell you things like that. So, hey, man, look, today we're going to
Yeah.
talk about finance after 50. You're prepared for everything dealing with finance, I don't know, you're not over 50 yet, are you?
Not yet, dude. Don't rush me, man. I'm 48, dude. I'll be 49
Wow.
in November, man.
Wow.
I'm still a young buck, man.
Wow. Well, I tell you, you caught up with me in so many other areas. You're a married man, beautiful married man with 6 children. You surpassed me there, and wonderful girl dad, wonderful children, well accomplished family. I'm so proud and
Thank you.
honored to have you as my friend, man. And I see you
Appreciate
representing the
that.
Transamerica. So let's get into it, man. Introduce yourself further than what I've just talked about.
Well, I think you did a good enough job, Howard. So I appreciate the lovely introduction. But yeah, my name is Sheik Kuyateh. I like to consider myself just a financial educator. Sure, I've got the licenses of a licensed financial professional,
Mhm.
but I'm on mission. and our mission is really eradicating financial illiteracy so families can
Yeah.
dream again. I teach people
Yes.
how money
Yes.
works, and it's a life
Yes.
skill that's not taught in schools. The government doesn't
Yes.
care if you know about it. The
Yeah.
financial industry doesn't care if you know about it. In fact, the less you
Yes.
know, the more that the industry makes. So they'd rather keep it
You're
that
right.
way. So for me, it's just I found a passion, something I enjoyed doing once I left the military, and I just stay on mission, which is serving
Yeah.
people, getting them financially free, and helping them find a way out.
Yeah. Wonderful, wonderful. Look, I'm going to try something. I
Oh,
don't know if I can. I believe I can share my screen because I want you to be able to share. I think it's actually going to share yours to mine, but mine to yours, but not yours.
I have a screen share option here. I see.
You do. Okay, great, great,
I
great,
do.
great,
So
great.
yeah, I
Then
can use it if you
I'll
want me
put
to.
allow.
You want
Yep.
to go into it? Okay.
There you go.
All right. So you want me to just go cook?
Oh, did I go
Uh,
too far in?
no, no. You don't screen. Don't share yours. Let me share mine.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. Let's see if it lets me.
Okay. Let's go.
All right. Let's see here. Make sure I'm doing this right. Let me know what you see, Howard.
There we go. All
Oh,
right.
you see essentials.
Yep. Yeah. You're right
You
on.
don't
You're
see
on
my
cue. Do you
notes though,
see?
do you?
No, I don't see your notes. I just see what you see. Is that what you see? Essentials,
Yeah,
the money
yeah,
book.
yeah. As long as
Okay.
you see
Great.
essentials, we're on the same page. Yep, yep.
Good.
Okay,
Yes. Yes.
okay, okay. So yeah, I mean, again, how I appreciate the opportunity just to speak with your audience, and I'm grateful for that. So that being said, um, we're gonna just go to the basic essentials on financial literacy. We'll talk a little bit on retirement, and we'll talk about some achieving milestones and how to get there. Um, but really, we've come out with a book. It's called "How Money Works: Stop Being a Sucker,"
Mm-hmm.
and this is really just the presentation on that, called the Money Books Essentials. So here you're gonna basically learn how to stop being a sucker when it comes to your money. So let's
Yeah.
go ahead and get started here.
Okay.
So first decision really you got to make is simple. Um, your mindset. Will you choose the mindset of a sucker, which is spend first, or you're going to choose the mindset of the wealthy? The fact that you're watching this really says, hey, I want to kind of have a world class mentality about this.
Mm-hmm.
So great news is that you don't have to be wealthy to think like the wealthy. You only
Mm-hmm.
need knowledge and you need action. So the opportunity here is to really gain as much knowledge as you can. And if you know a lot of this stuff, great. Just eat the meat, spit out the bones, catch a few nuggets that you can, and run and
Yeah.
apply with it. So, that being said, financial illiteracy is the number one economic crisis in the world. That's one of the
Mm-hmm.
realities that's in the book. There's two. Financial illiteracy is the number one economic crisis in the world. Um, it affects over 5 billion people. So, that's the first reality. Second reality is you're a sucker if you don't know how money works. That's kind of how the theme of the book goes. And I know it's a kind of sounds insulting. Unfortunately, that's the best way to describe someone who can be taken advantage of, because they don't know how things work. And not
Mm-hmm.
knowing how money works, it does suck. It sucks up time,
Yeah.
sucks up
Yeah.
freedom, even sucks up your income. Right.
Yeah.
And again, I said over 5 billion people are affected by this. So there was a study, and in the study, only 30% of people in the world are considered financially literate. All right. So
Yeah.
the study used a quiz to reveal the vast majority of people from countries all across the globe. And they were unable to correctly answer a few simple questions about money. Okay. So this is going to really teach you those answers, and many more. All right, but let's look at some statistics real quick.
Okay.
These
Great.
these are pre-COVID numbers. Howard,
Wow.
pre-COVID
Wow.
numbers.
Okay.
44% of Americans. So the question we have to ask: did things get better? Right? But these are
Yeah.
pre-COVID numbers. 44% of Americans uh, have can't cover a $400 emergency.
Yeah.
Student loans, 43% of borrowers are not making payments. Average credit card debt over $9,000,
Mm-hmm.
and 1/3 of Americans do not have retirement savings.
Mm.
Why? Well, as I mentioned, they don't teach this stuff in school.
Yeah.
Um, Only 28 out of 50 states require high school education, and let's be clear, that should be 50 out of 50 states. And
Yeah.
what's unfortunate is that of those 28 states, you could say learning how to balance a checkbook would be considered a financial course,
Mm-hmm.
or
Yeah.
learning, or like a requirement. But the facts
Yes.
are that's not enough. It simply isn't. All right. So
Yes.
when it
And
comes to
who
school,
uses
they
checkbook?
teach. Oh,
And
go ahead. Go ahead.
who uses checkbooks now? That's a thing of the
I
past
rest my
almost.
case. Yeah. Who uses checkbooks?
Yeah.
Right. Right. Not
Yeah.
me.
Hmm.
You know, but good point you make there. So let me introduce you to the sucker cycle. It's a trap
Yes.
of foolish spending, low interest savings,
Hmm.
that goes on, month after month, year after year, slowly sucking away your potential to be wealthy, free, and in
Hmm.
control. So
Hmm.
how it works is this: every couple of weeks, the cycle repeats. Too much eating out, unnecessary online purchasing, another streaming subscription, and
Hmm.
most people know how to earn money. We're taught how to make money,
Hmm.
right? We even taught how to spend it, but
Yeah.
that's it, right? So time to really kind of get into this area where the cycle gets broken. So I would say these are not in my notes, but I would say establishing a mindset of this, and it's really the 10 10 10 70 rule.
Hmm.
uh, 10% give,
Hmm.
okay, the other 10% invest, the other 10% save, and the
Hmm.
70% live off the rest. Easier
Yeah.
said than
Yeah.
done, but that's a principle you got to fight, claw, scratch to get to. All right.
Hmm.
You wanted to say something on that, Howard?
Well, I'll tell you that is an amazing concept. One of the things that I did not know, I thought I was doing well. One of the things I realized, I said, and when I first met you, I'm still in law enforcement, but I was in law enforcement years ago, and I'm like, well, my job is I have really good life insurance, and I have really good financial planning for my job. And you said to me, do you remember what you said to me? You ain't got no
Unfortunately,
insurance. You ain't got no protection if everything is on your job.
oh,
And I was like,
I went
that
there, huh?
hurt. But it was
Yeah,
so true.
yeah,
You have
yeah,
no
yeah.
protection for your life. If your job is doing everything, and you were sharing with me, your job shouldn't care more about you than you care about yourself.
Mm,
And
mm,
they don't.
right,
So,
yeah,
but go ahead.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
think a good point you make is ownership.
Yeah.
Do you own
Yeah.
what you have? And if not, um, it can be taken away. So,
Yeah.
good point. Good
Yeah.
point. Let's talk a little bit about retirement and think of it like an airplane. You need both wings to fly. All right. So one wing, or one area that we think we're okay in is social security. I'm going to call it so-so security because it's really so-so. There's no
Yeah.
guarantees on that, but a lot of
Yeah.
people are dependent on it. Your 401k is another. So if the rule of thumb is really you're supposed to, when you retire, you're supposed to kind of try your best to live off of 80% of your pre-retirement income.
Hmm.
Okay, so let's say you make 100,000 a year. Your Social Security is going to give you about 40% of that, so you'll get
Hmm.
40,000. All right, now take a look at that statistic at the bottom there, 401k. The average American age, what is that, 60 to 69, has about $195,000.
Hmm.
Okay, so imagine this. That's what you got to live off of for the rest of your life. and let's say you're 65,
Yeah.
you're going to have a really good retirement for about 5 years.
Yeah.
So the idea is if you're in an airplane and you're like 10,000 feet in the air, you're kind of going on your vacation, you look to the left, everything is wonderful. And Lord, you can imagine the palm trees coming soon as you land. Then you look to the right of your plane and you notice that the wing is off. It's just completely missing,
Yes.
right? That's the
Yes.
personal savings aspect, and that's become a huge problem. So here's what's happening. Um, you're kind of retiring right now. Today, 67 technically is kind of the retirement age.
Hmm.
But you're finding, if what we're finding is that this group of people, they're having to go back to work because they don't have the sufficient amount of income to maintain their lifestyle. All right. So
I was sitting in a
go ahead.
parking lot the other day. I was about to have a meeting with someone over at one of the local restaurants, and I saw this lady crawling, practically crawling out of her car, and then walking gingerly all the way up to the restaurant with her apron on. And I said to myself, I didn't know this lady, but I said, I'm sure she did not want to get up out of the bed this morning
Mm,
as an older person.
mm,
Then I thought about myself, and I said, I've got to talk to my friend Mr. Kuyate because he can really help a lot of families keep from getting into this place.
mm. Yeah. Yeah. Howard, a lot of people are having to re-enter the workforce
Yeah,
at an older age,
yeah,
or or and both cut back their lifestyle, right? And
yeah,
or move in with their kids.
yeah.
How's that sound?
Familiar.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So the goal is really to get to a place where, hey, when we get to our retirement age, we nail it. We make sure the
Yeah.
gap is closed, retirement savings goal reach, and really that 10 10 10 70 kind of concept is a good starting point on how to get there. Because when you get to 67 and you've identified something we'll call your financial independence number. And let me
Hmm.
explain what that is real quickly. Financial independence number is the question you ask yourself: how much money do I need to retire comfortably and
Hmm.
remain retired comfortably?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're clear on that, maybe you don't hit it, but at least you know what it is. A lot of people
Yeah.
don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
So getting to that number and even knowing that number is super crucial and super important. So let's dive into a concept I love to kind of teach, which is the
Hmm.
rule of 72. Howard, I know you've
Hmm.
heard of this before,
It's great.
right? Right.
Refresher is
So
great. Yeah.
absolutely, let's break it down to your audience, okay? Um, and if you're ever wondering why I stayed in this career, it was because of this.
Yeah.
Okay, I had shared this with a friend of the family. This was when I was still in the Navy. I was doing this part time, and I showed her this, and she was a doctor in the Navy. I was a E4, a little small fry enlisted guy. She was a
Hmm.
doctor, officer. You got to salute them and all that. And I said, hey, listen, doc, I just want to show you what I'm doing. Get your opinion. Give me your feedback on it. And I showed her this, and she said I saved her life. She said I
Yeah.
saved her life. She said, Sheik, I'm heading in a certain direction, and if I don't get that straight, I'm going to live off cat food.
Yeah.
And so this
Yeah.
was kind of so. Anyway, the rule of 72 is a mathematical formula to find out how long it takes your money to double.
Hmm.
Very simple. All you do is take the number 72, you divide it by your interest rate. So some of you have bank accounts, some of you have investment statements. Look at those, find out what your interest is. Take that 72, divide it by that number. That will tell you how long it takes your money to double.
Yeah.
All you do. So example, if you're earning 1%, let's say you got a CD or a savings account, 1% earning, 72 divided by 1, your money will double every 72 years.
Yeah.
So to make to take this home is, look, 72 years not gonna, I mean, me and you, we're screwed at that point. We're waiting 72
Yeah.
years for our money to double, right? But let's say
Yes.
you're earning something at 6% every 12 years, your money doubles, or better, even 12% every 6 years, your money doubles.
Yeah.
And this is really the power of compounding interest and understanding how that works. That's another concept that we teach as well.
Hmm.
But I want to bring this, I want to drive this home.
Hmm.
The average rate of return in like a passbook savings account is
Yeah.
about 0.15%. So if you divide that 72 into that number, your money doubles every 480 years with that bank. So
Yeah.
that's around 2504. So think of it this way. Um, the credit card industry, the same bank probably,
Hmm.
their average, and these are pre-COVID, this are pre-COVID slides. So that
Hmm.
interest has gone higher. The average credit card interest rate is 22.44%. So their money doubles um, every Summer Olympics. Your money
Yeah.
doubles every new civilization. This is what we mean when we say stop being a sucker.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Let's talk about the seven money milestones. Did you want to
Well,
chime in or have any
I
questions, Howard?
yeah, I remember you helped me with this with one individual. They had a substantial amount of money, gaining 2% interest a year, and you helped me share some information with them, and when we helped them move their money to a vehicle that was get a much better rate of return. They said to me the exact same things. They said, "You saved my life." She
Wow.
was pushing 60 and had money in one retirement and that she had not touched in 15 years, and money in another retirement that she was still feeding into. So you don't need both of these. Why don't you look at moving one of these somewhere else? And she had a sister who was a millionaire. And here I am teaching in a school. I mean, if I'm teaching, I am not a millionaire, right? So
Mhm.
why am I gonna listen to him? She said. So she asked her sister, and her sister said, "Hey, what he's telling you is great information. I would do it." Her sister talked her into moving it into a better vehicle. Um, and she said we saved her life. Now this is the thing that, and I'm sure you're gonna get into that part. I'm not gonna jump ship, but she passed earlier this year, and calling her daughter called me when she was on her last hours of living, and which was really thoughtful. And after she passed, I called the daughter back and I said, "Hey, we did some things for your mom. I think that there's some things in there for you too." She said, "I'm not sure," but we were able to call the industry, and there was some things set aside for the daughter as well. So it was wonderful when you can really help families, especially the families that you help by surprise.
Mm.
So and
Wow.
so what you did in my life over 10 years ago is you showed me how to really help families, and just those little things I can appreciate. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's a great. That all it did was give me fuel, man.
Yeah.
That just gave me fuel to keep moving. So I
Yeah.
appreciate that. It's good to hear that from time to time. So thank you for sharing that. So yeah, let's go ahead dive into these seven money milestones. And really, what I'm going to show you guys is these are not just steps. These are milestones, meaning they're accomplishments. Okay.
Yeah.
So reaching these accomplishments will really help you strengthen your strategy, and it will give you confidence. All right. So
Yeah.
let's dive into what they are. So the first one is just get educated. So for any of your guests, Howard, who want a copy of the book, How Money Works, Stop Being a Sucker, it's on me. I'll make sure they get it.
Yes.
All they got to
Uh,
do, I think my email shows on the
yep.
my name there,
All
but
of your information. Yes.
okay, yeah. So feel free, if you want a book, I'll get you a copy. Just share your information, and I'll make sure you get that. But yeah, you got to be financially ready, and no excuses. Like I said, the schools, you're not going to learn this stuff in school. All right.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure you're okay. The other aspect of it is be okay with talking with a financial professional. That's critically important simply because you're not going to know everything. You're
Mm-hmm.
not gonna. In fact, I don't know everything. I still go to people and get guidance. So if I'm licensed almost 15 years, you
Mm-hmm.
better be asking for some guidance, okay? Billionaires have, millionaires and billionaires have financial advisors,
Yeah.
so consider that. Number two is proper protection. All right, so this is the second milestone. You need to protect yourself, your family from possible future loss or income and saving. So I'm going to share with you like some quick formulas on how to figure out, well, how much do I need? So a basic rule of thumb, 10 times your annual income. So if you make half a million dollars a year,
Mm-hmm.
you should have I'm sorry, if you make half a mil, you I wish, right? If you make $50,000 a year,
Yeah.
make 500,000, you should have about 10 times that number. Why? Let's talk about it. Um, More specifically, actually, there's a quick formula I give you: DIME to kind of put all this stuff together here. Debt, income replacement, mortgage protection, and you could say education or estate planning for the E. D, debt. If I pass away, is anybody on the hook for my debts? Income replacement. Especially if you got young kids who live with you or someone dependent on your income, how long can you make sure that they're okay if you pass away? Right. So that's kind of, we say rule is done 10 times, especially
Yeah.
if you got young kids, maybe even more. Mortgage. Got a mortgage. Hey, I want to make sure this thing is cleared and free. Mortgage protection. E, education. Got kids, say I want to make sure they go to the best schools or whatever. You could do that. Or I just want to have a nice estate to be able to leave some kind of legacy behind. All right. So that's a reason why to kind of have that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, only 59% of Americans have life insurance, and about half of those are actually underinsured. So many people are not meeting those specific requirements. And the reason is because they don't understand. A lot of people don't understand how this stuff works. All right,
Mm-hmm.
so let's dive into that a little bit, and I'll just give you a simple example of this. There's really two types. There's temporary, and then there's permanent. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
temporary, which is commonly called term, it's called that because it provides life insurance protection for specific periods of time, 10, 20,
Mm-hmm.
30. Most affordable life insurance available because it provides one core feature, the death benefit. Okay, so it doesn't have like a lot of bells and whistles. It's just like, hey, if you die within this window, you get it. Okay. Um, but with term insurance, it's possible to have the protection for your family um, or business with relatively small monthly payments. That's why it's so popular. So this can make you can make it fit for anyone with like a limited budget during times of high financial responsibility, like raising kids, paying off the mortgage, college, running a company or something like that. And the key is to kind of buy term and invest the difference. That's kind of the idea there of the benefits of term insurance. All right. So what happens if it ends? Well, scenario one, which would be a good thing, you no longer need it. Scenario two, you still need it, and that's where you have an issue. So you want to say something, Howard, on that?
No, no, no. You just answered my next
Okay.
question. Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um, Take a look at this, what we call the financial X wave, and it really kind of illustrates what I'm saying here. In your younger years, that's presented on the blue bottom left side. You're not gonna have a lot of wealth, but you're gonna have at the
Mm-hmm.
top left, you're gonna have a lot of responsibilities, right? Kids,
Mm-hmm.
family, home, all that type of stuff. And in your later years, which is the yellow side, the plan is for your accumulated wealth to hopefully increase and your responsibilities hopefully decrease. So,
Mm-hmm.
term insurance is typically most useful when your responsibilities are higher and your wealth is lower. All right. So, if these two factors flip later in that lifespan, term insurance becomes less practical. So, you know, you want to make sure, hey, as I'm young and healthy, I'm making sure I'm building my wealth and I want to make
Mhm.
sure my responsibilities start to decrease. All right.
Mhm.
Permanent
And
insurance.
the younger
Oh,
you
yeah.
are, the
Hmm.
better it
Absolutely.
is. The
Yeah.
younger you are. So what age would you, I know the answer, but what age would you consider putting a plan in place for someone?
7 days after birth.
I knew it, yes. As soon as that social security number
Like,
pops up.
right. Soon as, if you got a son, if he gets circumcised, as soon as that happens, get that life insurance. Maybe even before the
Yes.
circumcision, but get it in because
Yes.
the younger you are, the less it costs.
Mm-hmm.
Period. The older you are,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll give you a quick scenario, quick story. I have a client. She's 53, not in
Mm-hmm.
the best of health, and she's like, "Sheik, I need life insurance." And she's like, "I need $2 million worth." We did the dime aspect. She needs $2 million worth. We showed her the numbers. They weren't pretty. Okay. And then I gave her an example. She's got younger kids. And then she's like, grandkids too. I showed her the numbers with
Mm-hmm.
the grandkids, and she was amazed.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because statistically, she's closer to dying than the kids are.
Yeah.
So the things
Yeah.
that insurance companies don't like, old age, they don't even like genders.
Mm-hmm.
Women,
Mm-hmm.
the cost for women is less than men. If you're the same
Mm-hmm.
age, a woman pays less insurance than a man, based is
Mm-hmm.
assuming their health is the same. So age, driving records, all those things play a factor in whether they think you're more risky. Now,
Mm-hmm.
health, obviously health, right?
Yes.
So those are all factors that play in. So if you've got a young, healthy baby, man, get something in place for that kid,
Yeah.
because it's going to cost less over time.
Yes.
Right? So
Yes.
speaking of which, you can't get term insurance on a baby. Okay, you can't do term insurance on a baby. You can do permanent life insurance on a baby.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and
Mm-hmm.
it provides death benefit protection for your whole life. All right,
Mm-hmm.
so it's permanent insurance. That's why I call it that. So it's designed to be kept and really to protect you for your entire life, not just really for a limited period. So
Mm-hmm.
some benefits out of that are one is obviously the permanent coverage, but
Mm-hmm.
there are other areas of policies that you can start doing now. This has really just started happening over the last few years where you can add long-term care as a rider on your permanent policies.
That's
The other
important.
benefit, yes, it is. Yes, it is. We'll touch on that a little bit too,
Mm-hmm.
Howard. The other aspect is with permanent insurance, it has a cash value component, and that is tax-free access to money.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So advantages, as I mentioned just a second ago, tax-free. This is a great way to shield your money from creditors. Like if someone's trying to sue you, life insurance is a really good tool to
Mm-hmm.
kind of shield away funds. If you really want to know um, where the wealthy keep their money, it's in tons and tons of life insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Tons and tons of life insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Zero market risk. Some of these products have the ability to have your money linked to stock market returns without losing money. And if you do it right and you build it properly, you can actually start getting tax-free income from these things.
Well,
So it's a great
are you
tool.
gonna talk about um, the two important rules about money? Warren Buffett's two rules.
Um, I
Rule
will.
number
I will.
one.
Well,
Okay,
sure. Since
okay.
you went there,
I'm
let's
excited.
dive
I'm
into it.
excited.
Sure. Rule number one: Warren Buffett, which is the wealthiest investor ever in the history of the world, he said, there is two rules to money. Rule number one: don't lose money. Don't lose money. Rule number two: don't forget rule number one. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
All right.
You're
We
bringing
learned
up
that from
great
our buddy
memories,
Mickey.
man. As I'm
I
sitting
know
here
I
with
am.
you,
I know I am.
I've
Shout
done
out to
I've heard
Mickey.
so many of your good presentations. I call them mini sermons, and so yes, and you really
I love it.
hold true to faith, family, and finance. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. Let's talk about long-term care like you wanted to, okay?
Mhm.
Um, So LTC, that's the short term for it. Uh, the coverage is really to make sure that you're taken care of if you can't do two of the six daily functions of living.
Mm-hmm.
Two of the six, and they are you can't feed yourself, you can't clothe yourself, you can't get to the bathroom, you can't walk, you can't hold it. And there's always one I kind of forget, but
Mm-hmm.
essentially these are created so if you have to go to like a nursing home or get home health care, assistant living facilities, adult daycare, this is kind of that coverage that would help that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, pre-COVID numbers. But before I go there, the average long-term care need is about 4 years, 3.9 years to be exact. So as you can see here, the average total cost can be very, very crippling if not covered by
Yeah.
long-term care
Yeah.
coverage, and it can drain someone's savings easily. Okay, so the issues are 70% of people, if they're over 60, there's a 70% chance you will need long-term care,
Yeah.
but less than 30% have one.
Yeah.
All right. So, couple options that you should look at. The first is you could do a traditional standalone. Even if you don't have life insurance, you can go directly to an insurance company, get LTC, or if it's available, you can add a rider to your. Actually, you can even add these to your term policies now. Um, so they're available in term life insurance and permanent life insurance policies for like an extra little cost. The benefit of having it with your life insurance is that um, it's there if you need it. We all know we're going to die.
Mm-hmm.
We all don't know if we're going to need long-term care. So it's kind of just an extra added bonus if you just have it as a rider. All
Yeah.
right. Um, Other living benefits that are out there when pertaining to long-term care, critical illness. So if you're having issues like stroke, heart attack,
Mm-hmm.
very hard things, cancer, those are things that
Mm-hmm.
trigger the rider right away. Chronic illness is kind of those six daily functions of living, but also consider ALS, diabetes, Alzheimer's. These are benefits that you can have pertaining to long-term care. Let's talk about emergency funds, Howard. This is a
Yes.
short. This is short.
Mm-hmm.
You should have 3 to 6 months of income. Okay, and so if you're making 50,000 a year, you should have about 12,500. All right.
Mm-hmm.
If you make 100,000, you should have about at least 25,000 to 50,000. All right. So
Mm-hmm.
there's two rules. Two rules to emergency fund. Number one, your emergency fund is only for unexpected, keyword, emergencies, not uh Pookie needs a refrigerator. That's not your problem.
Yeah.
It's unexpected emergencies for you.
Yeah.
That's all. Not for gifts, getaways, BOGO sales. Doesn't matter if it sits in your checking, savings, separate accounts. Probably best to keep it that way, as long as you're not tempted to use it for anything but a real emergency.
Mm-hmm.
Rule number two: if you need to use your emergency fund to fix your car, replace the fridge, ER visits, don't hesitate to use it. That's what it's for.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And a big reason to have it is so you don't get into a debt issue. Okay. So a lot of people kind of put this before number three, but I would challenge you to think outside the box. If you don't have any savings and you do have an emergency, guess what you will have to do? You will have to use a credit card,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's a trick. That's the game that's being played. So before you can really enjoy financial security and independence, you'll need to really look at your spending habits, and really just strive and eventually try your best to eliminate that debt. So let me give you quick 5 tips
Mm-hmm.
on how to eliminate and stay out of debt.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So average American close to $30,000 in personal debt. That's not including
Mm-hmm.
mortgages. Many have much more, and don't forget, over half of Americans suffer from some kind of anxiety relating to debt. So it also gives you
Hmm.
kind of a mental illness.
Yeah.
So when debt's removed, you can really kind of just enjoy life more fully, freely. So here are the 5 tips to stay out of debt. Know what you owe. No more late payments. Tackle one debt at a time, meaning focus your energy on that one. If you can put a little bit more extra into paying it off, pay the
Hmm.
minimums on everything else, and lock and load on that one that you want to get rid of, whether it be the
Hmm.
highest interest rate or the highest balance.
Hmm.
There's called debt snowballs, debt avalanches. You decide. All right. Stop
Now, you talked
charging.
about something a little
Oh,
earlier. I'm sorry.
what's up?
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, buddy.
You talked about something a little earlier. One of the things that's now become a thing since COVID are these $10, $15, 13.99 a month streaming charges that you have. Like you look on your phone, you have like 9 different streaming platforms, but you're still in
Yeah.
debt.
Mhm.
Go ahead. I'm not sure if that could be something that you
Yeah.
consider as well.
Cancel unused subscriptions.
Hmm.
Why do
Well,
you have
do you need 9 subscriptions?
why do you have that's a great question. Why do you have 9 subscriptions?
Yeah.
And probably half of them you're not using. So that's a
Yeah.
good point. Absolutely. Cancel unused subscriptions.
Hmm.
They're not needed.
Yeah.
Why do you have 8 streaming services? Anyway, don't get me started. Right. So
Yeah.
canceling unused subscriptions, and careful on that last one, refinancing your mortgage. Obviously,
Hmm.
interest rates are not in an ideal situation right now, but there is a time and a place when you have that option to kind of just restructure your debt.
Yeah.
Increasing cash flow is number 5. So earning additional income may be necessary to kind of get that extra space to be able to kind of be financially free.
Now,
But
check this out,
definitely
though,
manage
Mr. Sheik.
expenses.
Check this
Okay.
out. In what is it? What month are we in? In June,
We're
a
in
lot of
June.
city employers are
No,
going to
we're in
get
May.
that
We're
three
in May.
percent.
We're in May. We're in May.
Yeah, yeah. But in
Go ahead.
June, a lot of
Oh,
city employers are going to get 3% bonus. Right, that 3% raise.
that
Right.
raise, yeah.
So yeah. So what do? You got 3% more. You can get a bigger house, bigger car, or whatever. What do you suggest with an extra 3%?
Hmm. I would suggest looking at not as a pay increase to do whatever you want, but a opportunity to get things in order.
Good.
So
Yeah.
so if it's like, man, I don't have 6 months of savings.
Hmm.
Well, guess what? You just got a 3% bonus.
Yeah.
Let's say you're good there and you're like, man, I still have some debts that have been bothering me for a decade. Guess what?
Hmm.
You got 3% to kind of do that. I'm only putting in 2% in my 401k, but the company matches 5%.
Free money.
Oh, here we go. There we go, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, the key is, hey, what's important? Where are my priorities? Or maybe just be a
Mhm.
giving situation. You know what? I'm not giving enough. I like the opportunity to be able to do that too.
Yeah.
So just prioritize it properly, and you'll
Hmm.
be fine. You'll be fine.
Okay. Thank you.
Uh, yep. So here's a few things, kind of in relation to what you just brought up, Howard. A
Hmm.
few things you can do that could increase your cash flow. Creating a budget, sticking to it, developing a written game plan, reducing spending on expenses like your car, like shop around for car insurance, shop around for home insurance, repositioning your savings, maybe looking for a high yield savings account, or CD that you can kind of have quick liquid access to, in case of savings and stuff like that. And I don't I want to talk too much on mortgage insurance and all that stuff, but sit with an accountant, sit with a financial professional, and just kind of make sure you're squared away on certain things that you're not too clear on. Ask the right questions.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, talk about three big moves to supercharge your cash flow. Here's one: get a side gig. Humble yourself. It's okay if your job doesn't get things done. 45% of Americans now have some kind of side gig, and the average they're earning is about 1,122 bucks. Maybe it might be time to get into action on something like that. Heck, I'm looking
Hmm.
for some people to train part-time,
Hmm.
Howard.
Yeah,
So I'll just put that out there. Or maybe starting a business altogether. Low cost business opportunities are out there. So find a problem people have, figure out a way to solve it.
yeah,
Entrepreneurship provides unlimited opportunity, and these days it's something you can do part time. You don't have to just jump out the window and completely be all in
yeah,
on the business, right? Um,
yeah.
as your income increases, a moment could soon come where you make the transition and fire your boss, so to speak, and do full time entrepreneurship.
I was
And don't
listening
forget,
to financial. I was listening to Doctor. I think his name is Matthew Knowles, Beyonce's father, and he was doing something kind of like this last week on finances. And what he said is he took 8 years to prepare to be self-employed or to be his own boss, I should say. In other words, he didn't, like you said, he didn't just jump out there, but he,
yeah,
he took some time. And then so one of the things I love what you do, is that, and this now has become everybody's catchphrase, but it really isn't everybody's real life experience. But for you, you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. So
mm,
when you kind of flippantly said you're looking for people to train, you really are. It's an opportunity that may be a good fit for you, and it may be a good fit for them, or it may not be a good fit.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
I wanted to kind of put something there because there are some people who are looking over this and they're saying, "Hey, I'm depressed,"
Mm, mm-hmm,
you
mm-hmm,
know.
hmm. Yeah,
And I need to
yeah.
do something about this. But I'm sure you'll. I'm hoping that you get to that part before we're done, because I think that
Mm.
that's a great opportunity that I don't want to let it pass by. But
Well,
continue,
let me touch
please.
on it now. Yeah, I'll touch up
Okay,
on it
good.
now.
Yes.
I mentioned finding a problem people
Mm-hmm.
have and figuring
Yeah.
out how to solve it. Let me tell
Mm-hmm.
you something. Financial illiteracy is a massive problem.
It is.
Okay, we don't have anywhere near the country, not just my company, the country as a whole doesn't have
Yeah.
anywhere near the amount of financial professionals that are needed to
Mm-hmm.
fix this problem.
Yeah.
So it's a huge problem.
Yes.
And yeah, I'm look. I'll train you part time. Start part time. I'll show you everything I know. I've got close to 15 years experience doing this stuff. I love it. And anybody who
Yes.
wants to be a crusader, which is the crusade is eradicating financial illiteracy so families can
Yeah.
dream again. I'm more than happy to
Mhm.
help, and it is a very lucrative opportunity. But you got to be on mission first, which is financial
Well,
literacy.
I wanted to make sure that I talked to you because I met you right about 2007,
Mm.
right? It's been a
Wow,
long time, man.
it has, man.
And you know what happened around 2007, 2008? Remember?
The market crash. I remember
The
that.
market crashed and people were devastated because they had all of their life savings in certain vehicles, and they had been so accustomed to losing that they didn't realize that they would lose when they were 59 years
Mm,
old, and they lost 80% of their total life's work. They lost it,
wow.
but somebody else found it.
Mm,
And I'm closer to 60. I'm a lot closer to 60 now than I was when I first met you.
mhm,
And I couldn't imagine losing everything and realizing I've got 20 more years to work at a time when I'm thinking about retiring or leaving my work.
mm,
So, how often are you still seeing? Because the market, I'm not saying this in any type of spiritual guru prophetic inclination, but the market is due to reset itself again,
mm,
and now is a good time to start moving things around where I'm suggesting, talk to everything you're seeing right here on the screen, the information, the email address, the phone number, the LinkedIn, the everything is right there scrolling on my lower third, the ticker. I need you to write this down. Go back and visit it on YouTube and look at it later on, because
Mm,
this is pertinent information that I'm not going to say if it happens. When things change, I need you to make sure that you don't jump out of the plane because it's going down with a backpack on and thinking it's a parachute.
mm.
So,
Yeah, good,
you know.
good point. Good point.
Hmm.
And let me
Hmm.
say this, Howard.
Hmm.
Just earlier this year, after Liberation Day,
Yeah.
um, let me give you guys a tip.
Hmm.
If the anytime the leader of the free world says now's the time to buy, get in position to buy.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's free insider trading, so to speak.
Hmm.
And people missed out on that opportunity. People
They
missed out on that
did.
opportunity,
They
and the
did.
market's been up about 20% since then. So
Yes.
think about that. And in
Yeah.
less than 2 months, the market's been up
Yes.
20% based on a dip,
Crazy.
right? So
Yes.
those who kind of heard that and understood that took it back. Now, there's no guarantee what's going to happen the next 2 months, but
Yeah.
that's just a good this is a good example of understanding how things work and being ready when things happen. So, but let's go
Yeah.
ahead. Let's move on to building wealth,
Yes.
Howard. All right, which is milestone number 6, and a big one because we're focusing on building wealth.
Hmm.
Uh, so there's things to avoid when it comes to that:
Hmm.
taxes, losses, and inflation. Um, and you do your best to accumulate and grow your net worth just as best you
Hmm.
can, right? Nobody's gonna bat 1,000. Nobody's perfect with this stuff.
Yeah.
The market is, I'm not gonna call it Las Vegas, okay?
Yeah.
But the market always wins.
Yeah.
So the question is, are you on the right side? Okay.
Yeah.
So with the possibility of longevity adding so many years to your life, it really brings it up to one question: will your wealth last as long as you do? You have to be able to answer that question. All
Yeah.
right. So here are the threats. Every wealth builder, must conquer. Think of
Hmm.
these as your wealth building enemies. Each will come at you from different directions, but to beat them, you'll have to address them individually. So let's start with the first one: is procrastination. Howard, do you know what the largest nation in the world is?
Procrastination.
There you go. I thought it was
you,
China,
you,
India.
yeah. You gave me an
It's
alley oop, man.
procrastination. I did. I
I
did.
wasn't sure
Nice,
about the
easy one.
answer as a yeah. I was
You
yeah.
got
You
it.
gave me an alley
That's
oop.
billions of people
Yeah.
procrastinate.
Hmm.
Billions of people. And as the
Yeah.
quote says, procrastination is hands down our favorite form of self sabotage.
Yeah.
All right.
You know how many people
Now,
I talked to
mm,
over the years, and they procrastinated, and then tragedy happened, and it was too late to do anything about it.
yeah. It goes right to the story I just shared with you about the life insurance with the 53-year-old
Yeah.
woman. She
Yeah.
waited.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's common theme. You'll see, particularly with the baby boomer generation, um,
Yeah.
you're going to see certain things that are just kind of continuously happen.
Yeah.
Um, so inflation is another enemy
Hmm.
of money. So we're going to go back to that rule of 72. Inflation over the last 100 years has been about 2.8%. Actually, inflation is around 2.3 right now, which is great
Hmm.
from 2022, which was like close to 9%. But things
Yes.
have gone down a little bit and cooled off. But you can estimate the number of years it takes the cost of goods to double over the last 100 years, about 2.8% annual. So all
Hmm.
you're doing is we're taking that number 72 and we realize, oh, if we're doing 2.8, that means goods and services are going to double about every 25.7 years. So you have to
Hmm.
ask yourself, is my money outpacing inflation?
Mm.
All right. So if you got your money stuck in your pillow, or earning some 0.15% annual rate of return, you
Yeah.
have an enemy that you haven't recognized. It's called inflation.
Yes.
Right. Here's another enemy, the impact of losses. You brought up 2008. Okay.
Yeah.
So here's a simple picture to illustrate how people miscalculate the impact of losses.
Yeah.
If you were to
Yeah.
lose 50% of your investment, how we doing on time, Howard? I've got probably about 8 more slides.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
good?
Yeah. I'm good. Yes, I'm good.
Okay. 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 Thanks for your patience, guys.
Thank you.
So
Mhm.
absolutely. So if you were to lose 50% of your investment, um, which has happened twice in the stock market in the last 20 years, okay, what percentage of gain would you need to get back to 100% is the question. So if the answer is 50%, which most people would say, yeah, I lost 50% of my money, I need a 50% return. The
Mhm.
answer is wrong. You need 100% gain after 50% loss. So that's not easy to do. That's not easy to do, which is why it's so important to be able to protect what you already have. So, as you mentioned, Warren Buffett, the rules, right? Never lose money, number
Mhm.
one. Rule number two, never forget rule number one. You kind of got to look at every option you have to reduce your risk. Second, you got to really know how to diversify your portfolios. Third, utilize the right financial vehicles for your situation. So that's why I'm going to emphasize this. It's always important to make sure you're talking with a financial professional. A lot of people are asking, well, how much does it cost and stuff like that. Who says it costs anything? How'd you come to that conclusion? It may not. So make sure you're out there asking questions. Okay.
Mhm.
But impact of losses. Next enemy, Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam wants his cut. Impact of taxes, the 800-pound gorilla in the room. Nobody likes paying them, especially when you're preparing for retirement. So the tax strategy you put in place today will actually determine how much money you keep later.
Mhm.
So you pay the government, and ultimately how much you leave for your kids is contingent on what your investment options you're choosing. So
Mhm.
understanding how financial vehicles are taxed um, differently is crucially important. So there's really three brackets: tax now, tax later, tax never. So let's use an example. Someone got a Someone at 29 got a $10,000 inheritance from their grandparent. And let's say they put that $10,000 to earn 9% annual return each year. When they hit 65, that $10,000 turns into 250,000.
Mm.
So let's start thinking like a farmer for a second. Would you rather pay taxes on your seed, the 10,000, or would you rather pay taxes on your harvest, the 250,000?
Of course, the seed.
Of course, right? Whichever is smaller.
Mhm.
Um, where do you think most people are paying?
On the harvest.
Exactly. All right. So an investor would rather pay taxes on the money before it grows, not after. All
Mhm.
right. But here's very simple: you're going to pay taxes one way or another, either now or later. All right. But it depends on the vehicle you choose. All right. So that's another reason why it's important to talk to a pro. Um, Three components of reliable income, and I do recommend you consider all of them. Okay, here's the first one: maintaining a potential for growth by participating in upside growth potential that's tied to the stock market.
Mhm.
Right, um, the best way to really make money is the stock market. That's never changed. That's that's just what it is. Welcome to America. We're a capitalistic country. These guys know how to make money make money.
Yeah.
Money is an employee, and wealthy people make money work like a slave because money doesn't complain. It doesn't need a lunch break. It doesn't need time off. It'll work
Mhm.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So you have to kind of make sure that your money is making money. The second,
Mm-hmm.
there are ways to reduce or completely remove potential losses by eliminating downside risk. There's products out there, guys. Um, the, the wealth the baby boomers don't like losing money. Why? Because they're closer to needing that money. So the industry itself has created products where you can either completely eliminate losses and still get market returns, or have some type of buffered strategy that protects your money during a downside market. I'll share this story real quick, Howard. Remember during COVID,
Yeah.
uh, 2020 March, when you went to the grocery store and there was people wrapped around the building trying to get hand sanitizer, toilet
Mm-hmm.
paper, and paper
Mm-hmm.
towels, and the
Yep.
market dropped 30% in a few days. I was
Mm-hmm.
calling clients with good news.
Yeah.
Hey, remember that investment? Remember that policy we put together? You
Yeah.
didn't lose anything.
Yeah.
We remember that buffered strategy I showed you about? Absolutely, there's things out there to
Yes.
do that. Okay. So with that, the third one is, yeah, create a predictable income that lasts longer than you do.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So if you tie all that stuff together, it's very, very possible. Number seven, protect wealth, the last milestone. All right. How are you gonna like this slide here?
Yes.
Um, Prince, what's your
Wow.
favorite Prince song? What's your favorite Prince song? I'm not even gonna
When
go there
doves
with you.
cry.
Really?
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's what I can say. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
right.
man.
Yeah, he's got a lot. He's got a lot of good ones. He got a lot of good. Break it down.
Lots.
That was
Yeah.
my good. That was my favorite. But
Yeah.
anyway, I won't go there. Prince, Aretha Franklin, respect. That's her baby, but
Hmm.
um, these two had sizable estates. Guess what? Neither of them had an estate plan.
They did.
Nope. They left their families. They left their business partners in an emotional, financial, legal mess that took
Hmm.
years to sort out. So this shows how important it is to protect your wealth with an estate plan. Let me say something. If you live in, say I live in California right now, San Diego, and I used to live in Virginia. If you own a home and you don't have an estate plan, you are asking for trouble, because there's this guy called probate, and
Hmm.
probate says whatever I own, I now have to go see a judge about it, because actually my family and loved ones have to go see a judge about it because I didn't protect what I had. All right,
Hmm.
so it's not surprising the number of people without a will is higher for younger Americans. 70% of those that are 45 to 54 or older, 54%.
Hmm.
All right, so Prince was only 57 when he passed away. So your estate plan is how you protect your wealth, your family, and your legacy when you die, because that's going to be the mouthpiece for you when you go. It's how your wishes and your decisions will be carried out. So I'll touch on it. There's four documents that you're going to need in your estate plan. It should include this: a will, okay, um, your financial power of attorney, and an advanced healthcare directive, or what they call a living will sometimes, and then HIPAA release. Um, Very important to have these things in there because they kind of cover all the corners that are needed.
Hmm.
All right. So that being said, having an estate plan in place helps you avoid Uncle Sam making decisions for you when you can't speak. All right. So the process of court administration. My wife's an estate planning attorney, Howard, so I hear the horror stories, and I've seen some of them myself. So it's not a good thing. Kind of make sure that if you've knocked out those six money milestones, make sure you don't stop there. Hit number seven.
Hmm.
No one wants to go through that type of issue if they don't have to. So um, don't let cost be the reason why you don't do it. It's going to cost you a lot more if you don't have one. Okay. Um,
Hmm.
so I'm gonna land my plane in about 2 minutes here. You can
Hmm.
You can also help your family and business partners avoid unnecessary expenses and delays with the probate process with like one additional estate planning tool, and that's the trust. The trust can do things for you. So again, your legal professional can give you like the best advice when it comes to trust. That's not my lane. That's more like my wife and stuff like that. So uh, I don't dive too much into that. But if you think estate planning would be too expensive or time consuming, you've got it wrong. Um, you haven't considered the cost to your loved ones once you've kind of entered that road. The truth is there are options for like almost every budget. So
I
consider
think we
that
need
as
to
you work
have
on these upcoming
another.
milestones.
I think we're gonna have to sit down one time and even have your wonderful wife on and just talk about the whole probate process because
Yeah,
there's so much that people just don't know. And that's a word that in certain cultures, they're not used to hearing it,
yeah,
and knowing
yeah,
anything about it. So right now it's
yeah,
just a word, but I love to
yeah,
have that happen. Maybe our wives could be on with us one time and just, I don't know what my wife would
yeah,
talk about, but your wife, I definitely know she would talk about the whole probate
yeah.
system. My wife, she would find her way in because she's multi-talented like that. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, I'll bring that up, and definitely think it's something that a lot of people are just unaware of or don't understand.
Mhm.
I'm not sure who to ask or what questions, but she does
Yeah.
seminars and all that type of stuff. So
Good.
yeah, absolutely. I think that'd be important. So yeah, let me close with this. Next steps really is to kind of review your numbers. Feel free to reach out to me if you don't have an advisor or someone to kind of help you out. I'm more than happy to serve. And like I said, those who want a book, no strings, you'll get a book. Just send me your email me or text or call me, and Howard has all my information, so he'll make sure you get that, and we'll get you a book. But yeah, just um, make sure you got your stuff together. All right. So that being said, I'm done, Howard. I finished up here.
Well, I tell you, I want to make sure I say this part because above all, Sheik is a kingdom man, answering the uh, answering to the ultimate boss,
Yeah,
and he's a man of God. Now I
thank
have
you.
to share with you, he doesn't take that title lightly. As a matter of fact, I remember when we first met. Um, the way that God has really grown you has really been a blessing for me to see. So I'm really honored, as I said, whenever we bring people on the ish, one they're incredible people who are really, you know, you're really good in your field. As a matter of fact, you're up there
Yeah.
with Dak Prescott and Brian
Oh boy,
James,
you put
all of the elite
Dak Prescott
athletes,
and LeBron James. You mean Dak
all of
and
the elite
LeBron? Okay,
athletes, nowhere
got you.
near the Joe
Thank you.
Flaccos and
Oh. Ray Lewis.
you know,
Yeah,
Lamar Jackson is up there with Dak,
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah,
you're
yeah.
up there. So, but I really, really appreciate you
Appreciate
taking
it.
this time, and I really
Yeah,
hoping and praying that people take advantage of this, and you'll receive calls and emails and texts,
thank
preferably
you.
emails. It'll be easier for you to navigate through that because if one thing you do take your time with your clients really seriously, and you're not going to be on your phone answering a text when someone's calling. And so,
Yeah,
if you're serious, send them an email,
yeah.
or write a letter, or something, because if it's this important to you, now circumstances. If I'm sitting in front of them and Warren Buffett calls, talk to
Uh-oh.
Sheik, okay? My little $9 is not going to
Yeah,
change this bottom line at all. And I
yeah.
want to be mad at you, but I want to thank God for you, my friend, and I really appreciate this. And I look forward to more conversations with you, and looking and praying for ultimate growth in your
Yeah.
business. Any closing words for you? By the way, man, you didn't even have a beard when I met you, so look at this, man. It's like
I
looking in
know,
the
man.
mirror, man.
Yeah, I've
I
grown
love
up,
it.
man.
I
I've
love
grown
it,
up,
man.
man. I've grown
All I
up.
need now,
Yeah.
is my
You can't get one
birthmark.
of these, brother. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, brother. Sorry, brother. You can make more. You get a
That's what I
Sharpie,
need,
but
man.
Get a Sharpie. See my twin.
But I love you,
But
brother. I
no,
really appreciate you.
yeah, I'll just say this, man.
Yes, sir.
I wasn't always faith-based,
Hmm.
and what inspired me was examples like you, where even though I didn't necessarily believe certain things,
Hmm.
it was people like you who filled the gap and helped me see the truth.
Wow. Wow.
So I'm grateful for you
Wow.
and Michelle and the
Thank you.
impact that you guys have had on my faith.
She
So
scares both of us.
hey, you know, hey, hey, here's all I know. I only know two things. I only know two things, Howard. Christ and
Yes.
Him crucified,
Yeah.
and that
Yes.
you and Michelle are people of
Thank
God.
you. Thank
So
you, man.
grateful for that.
Thank you. Well, God bless you, man. Closing in prayer. Father, we thank you for this time that we've had with my friend and my brother from another mother. I am thanking you for his family and his dedication to serving you, oh Father. We're praying that you will just send all the fish on his side of the boat, Father, so that it will be a great catch on tonight as he's looking out here to really help families. And we're praying now, oh God, for the families that are in dire straits, oh Lord, that you would help him to help them, oh God, find financial footing as they're navigating their ways throughout this tumultuous time in their galaxy. We're praying in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you,
Amen.
man. And you
All
have
right.
a
Thank you, brother.
wonderful, wonderful afternoon. And we'll talk again. God
Yes, sir.
bless.
Yes, sir. God bless.
Bye bye.